It's a surprise to me. And so I encourage those of you who are in transition or thinking, what's next for me, to be optimistic. There are many things that we need to consider as we transform ourselves as women. And so now let's advance through the slides just a little bit, because I'm going to share with you some spotlight on women and unemployment. So if we can advance to the next slide. So women have the opportunity to step up right now as men lose jobs, unfortunately. Now I understand if we look at the financial industry, this number is a little bit contradictory, because in the financial industry there's actually more women who have lost jobs than men. But overall, when you look at the 2.5 million jobs that were lost in November, 82% of those were lost by men. Next slide. So I encourage you to be resilient and be authentic and be ready for the opportunities that could come out of this discussion. Secondly, while some women, this is taken from a study we do, as many of you all know, and I have a lot of respect for the Gallup organization. This is some work that we do in social networking around moms, is what's on your mind every day as you are facing this economic downturn. And what we have found is that while some are nervous, more are remaining resilient. They see the storm coming, but from March of '08 to now, they're feeling more confident about that. And a little recession doesn't scare them. They're ready to handle what life throws their way. And so you can see over a period of time, they're getting more confident about the economy. Next slide. Some of the verbal comments we've got is to be resilient. Women have told us, I do have a positive outlook on it because the economic crisis will make us all look at the way we want to live, what we want versus what we need, and how we can save money so not to be a victim of these times. One woman responded, I see that we are going to have tough times ahead, but the major changes to our budget we can get through weathering the storm that is going to be thrown at us. That sounds like a true woman to me. The top three reasons why she's not losing her cool during this period of time. In general, women are generally more happier in non-economic times against non-economic factors. Their friendships and their relationships get stronger. They tend to become more insular with their families. And you see that played out in many different ways. The next slide will tell you, first of all, smart budgeting and living within their means has always been a way of life for most women. We've always been somewhat of the coupon clipper in the family anyway. Secondly, she's more savvier and creative than most. She's always been that way. And then lastly, she believes in herself and the ability to manage change and to get through it. She's a tough cookie, and she feels she just needs to step up to the plate. So I think that's interesting to think about what happens to women next, and what does this mean for them. And I also think about it, what's next for me in my career. I think about this is a time for role reversal. Mary introduced, in my introduction, talked about my husband. My husband has an MBA in finance. He worked for many years as an investment banker and then an entrepreneur. And then when life got really at a fast pace for me, we made a family decision that he would be a stay-at-home dad. And at first it was a bit uncomfortable. Actually, more for my mother than for me. She's still asking me, so is this a lazy factor, or, what's going on here? So she's getting with it in her 75th year. She's getting comfortable with it, and it works for us. And we have 2 children. My youngest is 5. I did have the late in life birth, like Susan talked about earlier. But I really think that this is a great time for women. I happen to believe that this is our jumping off point. I happen to believe that in this age of what AIG has shown us and other companies, that authentic leadership is very important. I encourage all women to be authentic. There are some societal factors that overwhelm the growth of U.S. business, like lack of education and the environment. But this is a time for us when we think about what really caused us to get where we are right now, and it's that lack of trust in the individual. And I have found that women lead with their hearts and their minds. They're honest, they're direct. This is our time. This is our jumping off point. I work with an organization in Atlanta that helps identify women for corporate boards. And we had some recent discussions about what does this usually mean. We sometimes become a little think tank for the CEOs in the Georgia area. And we actually happen to think that there's going to be, beyond the role reversal at home, it'll be a role reversal in the boardroom. And so it's going to be more around value-based leadership than it is around business, results-based leadership. To me, that's in the space of a woman. It's also in the space of the man who gets it. And so for the men that are in the room, this is the time for that feminine side of you that some of you have, is to let that prevail. I think it's going to be the winning characteristic as we move forward in this and people revitalize their careers. There's not going to be the financial careers of the past. Those are going to look different. So I encourage you to be authentic. The second is around being resilient and to resist the need to fall into, bad habits and making sure that your ethics are in place. Lastly, I think it's time to be ready. I think this is time for, like the women who have decided to attend this conference and to keep yourself fresh and think like I did 3 years ago. The best leader is one that not only inspires others, but the leader that is very comfortable putting the mirror up to themselves and saying, who am I, what am I about, and what can I deliver? So I ask you to be ready. I ask you to think about what's next for you. And I ask you to take advantage of this time. It is a true opportunity. Be realistic, be resilient, be authentic, and be ready. Thank you.